Hello everyone, I am Yashar Dehkanas. I'm computer science master student at Wayne State University. Today we're going to talk about scheduling workflows with budget constraints. Before we start, we need to know some of the definitions. Uh, Grid computing is the collection of computer resources from multiple locations to reach a common goal. Directed acyclic graph or DAG is a finite directed graph with no directed cycles. In this represented workflow, each node in the DAG represents an executable task, and each directed edge represents a precedence constraint between two tasks. In this paper, workflow applications are being considered as DAG instead of focusing only on megaspan optimization. We also consider that budget constraints need to be satisfied. Each job when running on a machine costs some money. Thus, the overall aim is to find the schedule that gives the shortest make span to a given DAG and a given set of resources without exceeding the budget available. In order to solve the problem of scheduling optimally under a budget constraint, we propose two basic families of heuristics which are evaluated in this paper. The idea in both approaches is to start from an assignment which has good performance under one of the two optimization criteria considered and swap tasks between machines trying to optimize as much as possible for the other criterion. So the first approach is start with an assignment of task onto machines that is optimized for Makespan. As long as the budget is exceeded, the idea is to keep swapping tasks between machines by choosing first those tasks where the largest saving in terms of money will result in the smallest loss in terms of schedule length. We call this approach loss. The second approach starts with the cheapest assignment of tasks onto resources. As long as there's a budget available, the idea is to keep swapping tasks between machines by choosing first those tasks where the largest benefit in terms of minimizing the megaspan will be obtained for the smallest expenses. We call this approach as gain. So in this paper, first we talk about some background information about DAG. Then the paper presents the core algorithm proposed along with the description of two approaches developed and some variants, and then experimental results that evaluate the two approaches will be presented. So we consider that DAG starts with a single entry node and has a single exit node. Each node connects to other nodes with edges, which represent the node dependencies. Edges are annotated with a value which indicates the amount of data that need to be communicated from parent node to to a child node. And for each node, the execution time on each different machine available is given. In addition, the time to communicate data between machines is given too. So the usage of each machine available costs some money for sure. As a result, an additional constraint needs to be satisfied when scheduling the DAG, namely the overall financial cost of a schedule does. Not exceeded a certain budget, we define the overall total cost as the sum of the costs of executing each task in the DAG onto a machine. That, as you can see in this formula, total cost is the sum of Cij. So Cij is the cost of execution of task I onto machine J. Where the Cij, where machine cost J is the cost uh, in money units, of course, per unit of time to run something and machine J, and execution time ij is the time task I takes to execute on machine J. The idea of the algorithm proposed is to satisfy the budget constraint to finding the best affordable assignment possible. We define the best assignment as the assignment whose execution time is the minimum possible, and we define affordable assignments as the assignment whose cost does not exceed the budget available. We also assume that on the basis of the input given, the budget available is higher than the cost of the cheapest assignment. This guarantees that there is at least one solution within the budget available. We also assume that the budget available is less than the cost of the schedule that can be obtained using a DAG schedule algorithm that aims to minimize the megaspans such as Heft or HBMCT. So the algorithm starts with an initial assignment of the task onto machine's schedule and computes for each reassignment of each task to a different machine. A weight value associated with that particular change. Those weight values uh, are tabulated. A weight table is created for each task in the DAG, and each machine, uh, well, it created for each task, DAG, and also for each machine. Two alternative approaches for computing the weight values are proposed. Depending on the two choices used for the initial assignment, uh, using the weight table, tasks are uh, considered for possible reassignment to the machine as long as the cost of the current schedule exceeded the budget, uh, or until all possible reassignments would exceed the budget. Um, so in the case of the cost, the current schedule, the budget, we're gonna choose loss. But in the case of all possible assignments would exceed the budget, we choose the gain approach. The loss approach uses as an initial assignment the output assignment of either Heft or HBMCT or DAG schedule algorithm. If the available budget is bigger or equal to the money cost required for this assignment, then this assignment can be used straight away and no further action is needed. In all other cases, that is, the budget is less than the cost required for the initial assignment, the loss approach is invoked. And the aim of this approach is to make a change in the schedule or in the assignment obtained through Heft or HBMCT, so that it will result in the minimum loss in execution time for the largest money saving. This means that the new schedule has an execution time close to the time the original assignment would require, but with less cost. So as you can see, this is the formula for loss weight for the loss approach. Uh, so T old is the execution time of task I on the assignment machine, which is created by either Heft or HBMCT algorithms. T new is the execution time of task I on machine M, and C old is execution cost of task I on the assigned machine, which again created by Heft or HBMCT, and CMU is the execution cost of task I on machine M. The gain approach uses a starting assignment, the assignment that requires the least money. Each task is initially assigned to the machine that executes the task with the smallest cost. This assignment is called the cheapest assignment. In this variation of the algorithm, the idea is to change the cheapest assignment by keeping reassigning tasks to the machine where there is going to be biggest benefit in the make span for the smallest money cost. This is repeated until there is no more money available. Here's the formula for gain approach, and the T old, T new, C new, and C old is the same as loss. For each of the two approaches above, we consider their different variants which related to the way that is weight and equation are computed. First, loss one, gain one. In this case, we weights are the weights are computed exactly as described. Loss to gain two. In this case, the values of T old, T new, and C new, C old in equations refer to the benefit in terms of the overall megaspan and the overall cost for the schedule and not the benefit associated with the individual task being considered for reassignment. And finally, loss 3 and gain 3. Uh, uh, in this case, the weights computed as shown by the equation are recomputed each time a reassignment is made by the algorithm. In order to evaluate each version of both approaches, the run they run the algorithm approach in this paper with four different type of DAGs. Uh, so these DAGs are FTT, fork joint, Laplace, and random DAGs. All DAGs maintain all DAGs contain about 100 nodes each, and they are scheduled on three different machines. We run the algorithm proposed in this paper 100 times for each type of DAG and both approaches and their variants, and we consider the average value. So CDAG is the total cost of the assignment produced by DAG scheduling heuristic used for the initial assignment when the loss approach is considered, and the C cheapest is the cost of cheapest assignment. So this approach allows us to consider values of budget that lie in 10 equally distances point between the money cost for the cheapest assignment and the money cost for the schedule generated by Heft or HBMCT. Since 100 experiments are considered in each case, we normalize the schedule length or the length of the make span using this formula. Uh, well, T value is the make span returned by our algorithm, and T cheapest is the make span of the cheapest assignment, and T DAG is the make span of Heft or HBMCT. As a general rule, the make span of the cheapest assignment, T cheapest, is expected to be the worst or longest, and the make span of Heft or HBMCT, T DAG, is the shortest. As a result, this formula is expected to return a value between 0 and 1, indicating how close the algorithm was to each um, of the two bounds. Since for each case we take 100 rounds, the average value of the quantity above produce the average normalized difference, or AND, from the worst and the best. Uh, that is this formula. Well, the results showing the AND for each different type of DAG, variant, and budget available. Each chart group the results of the different approaches. So loss starting with heft, loss starting with HBMCT, and gain. Uh, we're going to see the other charts in the next slide. So the graph shows the difference of the two approaches. The loss variants have a general better make span than the given variants, and they are capable of performing close to the baseline performance of Heft or HBMCT for different values of the budget. This is due to the fact that the starting basis of the loss approach is a DAG scheduling heuristic, which already produces a short makespan. Instead, uh, instead, the gain variant starts from the cheapest assignment, whose makespan is typically long. Average normalized difference for the three variants of loss when heft is used um, to generate the initial schedule. So this is the loss approach. Here you can see four different DAGs, random fork and join, FFT, and Laplace. And this is the average normalized difference for the three different variants of loss when the HBMCT is used to generate the initial schedules. Again, for four different DAGs, here you can see the loss approach with the when the HBMCT is in use. Finally, this is average normalized difference for the three variants of gain. It appears that the results have a little difference between a different type of DAG, so we include here only the result obtained for FFT graphs. One graph assumes that the starting point for loss is heft, and the other graph assumes that the starting point for loss is HBMCT. Well, it can be seen that the gain approach generally takes longer than the loss approaches, and average running time for each variant of this algorithm using FFT DAG. Uh, Thank you, everyone, and good luck.